Hi and welcome to the channel. Now if there's any noise in the background I do apologise, it's been going on for a few days, a few neighbours doing a few upgrades to their house I think. I mean even a banjo kind of thing at the end, but they're still doing bits and pieces. Obviously it's going to go on for a few more days I think, and I wanted to get a video out just to let you know what I've been up to really, and just talk about, as the title says, as a 63-year-old bald-headed bloke really know anything about HiFi, can he really tell the difference in the sound and all that, and to save you mucking about and all that and hanging about, all the answers probably no, but I've done my best I think, you know, over the last 4 years now to try and maybe steer some people that are on the fence or something in the right direction that I thought, you know, when we compared one amp against another amp, that kind of thing really, and what I thought was a reasonably sounding amp at a reasonable price. That was the idea, something very basic. The channel was very bottom end, as you can see here. I've kept the 101, I've got the 101 still, got the Dynaco 35 speakers, these speakers you probably can't see them, these TK50s I've kept, and this little Nico amp because I'm not going to get a lot for it. I've kind of got rid of some more of the amp by moving a few cables about. Sensu 331, the 101 and a couple of CD players, all cheap stuff. And anyone just coming across the channel probably looking at this probably thinks I could come out and buy you out for 50 quid, Mick. What a load of crap that is. But you know, when you take it to value, there's some good value there, some good sound that you probably have to go and buy something new that's going to cost you a good few hundred quid. You know, an amp that sounds as good as the 501, the AU 101 is probably going to cost you 500 quid, something like that, to get something reasonable. A pair of speakers, they're probably going to cost you 500 quid for what I've got here. These are nice, got a nice bass on these speakers. And same with a CD player, these are quite nice sounding CD players. You've got on the analog kind of sound of the CD kind of comes along. Sounds a little bit more analog than maybe other CD players I had. Obviously in this price bracket, these do quite a nice smooth kind of sound and more of an analog kind of sound, and something you can pick up off of eBay probably for 40 or 50 pounds. So they're not expensive. You've got to get an old little system here for a couple of hundred quid, just over probably. So they're not expensive if you get a bit of that, and like I say, to do something new probably going to cost you about 1500 quid, something like that, to get something like that. Probably still not going to sound that vintage sound. It's got that typical, you know, different sound to that vintage sound. People seem, you know, not everyone, some people like that vintage sound more than this analytical sound. Now this is what, you know, what I'm talking about here is, can I tell the difference between all these sounds? Well no, when we go into nuances and people talk about this, that and all that, and you get some of these reviewers that go into nuances and come up with words I've never even heard of kind of thing, then obviously no, it's not for me. It's nothing that I'm probably going to pick up on. And even so, some of these reviewers are getting on in years, shall we say, as well, and your hearing starts to deteriorate. So what can you actually hear? I think as long as the sound comes along to me as a decent kind of sound, it sounds nice, it's a sound that I can listen to for a length of time, I'm not going to get fed up with it. It's not going to do my head in. It's not going to get to me, think, oh, I've had enough of that, oh, turn that off, it's doing my head in kind of thing. As long as it's got a nice sweet sound that you can relax to, that you can still pick up things, because I do it myself. I'm over there on the PC sometimes, I've got it on, and all of a sudden a track comes on, some drumming to go around, or some cymbal playing, or some trumpet coming, or something like that, some sax, or some vocals, or whatever, and you have to take a little bit of a time out. You have to turn, I'm over there and I turn around thinking, that sounds good. That's, you know, it's kind of brought it to my attention when I'm still sitting there relaxing. So, you know, it's a sign of something good, rather than you sitting over there doing something, you're trying to constantly listen. You think, oh, let's turn that off, it's doing my head in, all that, oh, let's turn it off kind of thing. It doesn't happen. That's one good thing about units like this, and they're not expensive to buy either. So, you know, they're still pretty cheap really for what they are. So yeah, I would certainly say that I'm not going to pick up all these nuances and all this extra fine detail and that. My ears are probably gone, and I should imagine quite a lot of people's ears are gone, and that's why I think that if you get into a certain age, you're like me, 63, got a bald head and whatever, that if you're going to go and buy a top of the range HiFi, you're going to go and, you know, going into an HiFi shop and you're suddenly going to buy something unbelievably expensive, are you really going to hear that difference to something a little bit more lower end? You know what I mean? Maybe you should just save us a few quid from all these interconnecting cables and all that, a £200 a cable that's half a metre long and all that kind of stuff. Your speaker cables and all that, £50 a metre, and then you've got these little stands, you stand it on, little bridges going across the room and all that. Some people go, you know, maybe you're going a bit too far if you're of a certain age, so I don't want to you know, sermon and say you're getting on, you know, you're past it kind of thing, but I think you know what I'm saying. As long as you get a decent sound, I think it sounds okay. You know, it sounds pretty good for what you're getting, and that's what I brought to the channel over the years. So I'm just thinking, you know, maybe like I would say, you know, personally myself, that getting on in age now, that I'm not going to be able to hear these extra fine, something that's just come up, just got a little bit of extra fine detail on that. Obviously you can still hear the space and that and stuff like that, but obviously we're not picking up all the finer details. That's why there's hearing test places and all that kind of thing for people like me. I would have thought maybe a good syringe of the years would come in handy or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to let you know that I'm probably not, I've said it tons of times now, you're all going to get bored, I'm probably not going to bring out much HiFi at all now. I've got the bits I want, I've paid what I want for them kind of thing, I've got rid of all the rest. I've had a couple of things that maybe I should have kept hold of. I had a pair of bone Wilkinson speakers just recently, I can't remember the model number. I've done a few reviews back, and on second thoughts, maybe I should have kept them. The Sansui 317 or the 217, should have kept one of those maybe, that I got rid of. They were quite nice amplifiers, but other than that I'm happy enough. You can only play one amp and one set of speakers at a time, so I'm left with a few bits I've got, and I'm very happy with what I've got. They suit my needs. I'm more of a live sound, as you know, even though I've done a review in general for general kind of people kind of thing, but my sound is more of a live sound. Go on a few cruises here and there and listen to live, I wouldn't say bands, but musicians, if I can say the word. And I know what they sound like, so when I come here I'm expecting to try and get that sound as well, because I do like a live sound rather than the sound that's been going through a microphone, being recorded in a studio, and it's kind of been maybe levelled out a bit, whatever. It's not so dynamic, it's not got that sound to it, that live sound. I mean, my brother used to play the drums, but he still does, he still plays the drums he's been playing for 50 years, something like 40 years or something like, well, probably 50 years actually. And he's not got a cheap set. I haven't listened to him for a while, but that was drummed into me many years ago when I used to have him in my house playing, etc. So I know what a cymbal sounds like, I know what the snare sounds like, I know what the bass drum, I know what the toms, I know what a crash, I know what a ride, I know what all the cymbals are split, I know what they all sound like, what they should sound like. And my brother didn't have a cheap kit. My brother's kit is 5,000 plus, let's put it that way. It's not a cheap kit. One cymbal's £500, that kind of stuff. So it's top of the range kind of stuff he does buy. So I know what they should sound like. So if I can get something like that as near as possible out my speakers, then great. I know that's only the drums, but I think once you get that, other things come in, like as long as the trumpet, the sax sounds good, all that kind of stuff, I'm getting the space I want, and the vocals sound good as well, then I'm an happy man, you know what I mean? I'm a happy man. I do like that live sound rather than more of a synthesised maybe sound that's, like, say, mixed up in the studio and all that. I do like the live sound. I do enjoy when I go on these boat trips to go and see a live, like I say, it's not always a group, it could just be some session musicians playing. And I don't want to sound wrong here, because my wife has a go at me, because we go on some cheap cruises, some very cheap ones, and you get, like anything else in life, you get what you pay for. So the entertainment is going to be musicians maybe on their way up, or maybe not that good, shall we say. I don't want to cut, because I can't play any instrument, so you know, for me to talk kind of thing. But I don't listen for sounds like that, because they're not great. And most cruises, everyone loves it, you know what I mean? Everyone there thinks, oh, it's fantastic, great, brilliant, all having a great time singing along and that. But I do listen carefully, because I like to pick up things. It's something sometimes you can't relax doing. And I think, well, that weren't too good. And I've only come across a couple of people. The last cruise I went on, someone did actually say to me, some lady on the table said, oh, them singers were dreadful, didn't have a clue, couldn't hold a note on nothing. And I thought, so at last, exactly how I thought, without any disrespect to them. They were young, you know, obviously learning and going to get better like anything else. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. But on some of the cruises I do go on, which are more expensive, obviously you get better musicians on there. A bit like going down the West End to your local theatre maybe, or down the West End to your local Derby and Jones club, something like that. You're going to get a much better session musician there that knows his stuff, knows how to play it, knows how to keep in time, all that kind of stuff. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm listening for sounds like that. If they're coming through my speakers, I'm an happy bunny. That's the sound that I like. Okay, so that's it. I don't think I'll be bringing up much else. What could I bring to the channel? Well, I do some gaming. I do play games and that, but I think a million channels on there now, and most of these channels now on gaming are collecting. They're collecting games. I do follow a few. They collect games and that, and they're going around to shows and all this, buying games, £300, £200, £50, whatever. If it's something I'm not going to do, that's for certain. I've done my gaming bit. I'm into emulators. If I say I'm into them, I just get an emulator out and play an odd game here and there, outrun Coast to Coast or something like that. and a few games like that, something that's going to cost me nothing really to play, rather than going out to buy these games in the console to do it on. The frame rate not be exactly as it should, but it's good enough. The emulation's good enough for me, so there's no way I'll be going to do that. It's no way I'll be collecting and say I've just bought this game for 60 quid and all that. It's not for me, and it's for people who want to do that. I've done that in the past. I paid £150 a couple of times for one game, and that's many years ago. That probably, it's probably £450 these days, not to collect, just to play because it's the latest release. So I've done all that kind of thing, and it's not something I really want to get back into. And what else do I do? Not really much else. I used to be into horse racing. I was thinking about bringing an horse racing tipster kind of thing, something else I could do, but it's not the easiest job in the world to try and tip up a winner. So I don't think I'll be doing that, because as soon as you get on camera, not that I've been backing any winners recently, I've been doing terrible, to be honest with you. Not that I've had many bets, but so that's not a great idea. I follow a couple of channels that do, but it's a hard game. And I used to work here, just to bring a bit of a background information into the video, is that I used to work for a bookmakers for about 31 years, and then the previous one before that for a few years as well. So, and betting wise, I've had over 40 years worth of experience in betting and that. And what I would say to you is, if you don't bet now, then stay exactly the same. Don't waste your money, because you're going to lose, and you can lose big. I used to work in a betting office, like I say. I could tell many a story. I've got many a story to tell. But I've being dead serious, I've seen one person lose £1 million without a doubt, and I've seen other things as well. So don't get involved. I've been lucky enough to have a little period where I had some tips, and I've done okay out of it. I wouldn't say I've done really well, but I've done okay out of the tips, and these were proper tips. Not people guessing. These horses were definitely trying. They were kind of plotted up for a race. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but they've got a very, very, very good chance, more chance than their odds, actually think they're going to do, kind of thing. So yeah, I've had a couple of years of that as well, which I've been pretty lucky with. So I've seen all different aspects of that, and there's something else I could probably talk about, or something to do a video, but it's not going to attract many people, I don't think. But just giving you a little bit more of a background of what I used to do, etc. I used to collect all different things really in the past, but there's nothing really I can bring to YouTube that's going to set the world alight, I don't think. You may get 100 views of someone coming across thinking, what's this nutter on about now, and that'll be about it. So I don't know when the next video is going to be. I'm going to try and make my mind up of what to kind of bring to the channel if I can, to keep it going, because YouTube do like you to put a video up every 6 months is their criteria. You must put a video up every 6 months, otherwise they'll be thinking of deleting the account, etc. So I have to come up with something of the other here and there. But until in the meantime, I'd say thanks for watching, and that's it really. It's a bit of a sad time really that I can't think of anything else at the moment. But you never know, something just said he comes up around the corner, and thanks for subscribing. But also, I know I've said it before that feel free to unsubscribe, and that it's no problem at all. And some people say, I'm going to hang about me, see what you're going to do next and all that. But that's no problem at all, honestly. It is what it is. I can't come up with anything else. A bit like some other channels that have been doing this as well. There's a few, I'm not going to mention the names, but there's been a gap between some videos of there. And it's hard to come up with some new stuff without going and buying new stuff all the time, or get stuff given to you and all that and whatever. And it comes to a stage where you've said it all. You've done the repairs that you can do that's within your capability, my capability. You start doing repairs, and some people think you're better than you are, and start asking you questions, and you haven't got an answer for it, so it makes you feel a bit down, kind of thing. Think, I couldn't help them out there. Make myself look a bit silly maybe, because it sounded like I could do this, and that's the thing. It's always a thing when I've said it to people before, is that if you know nothing about something and someone just knows a little bit, a lot of people think that person knows a little bit, suddenly knows a lot. And it's not the case, It's hard for them to come across saying, I don't really know a lot. They go, no, I know, you know it all, kind of thing, but it isn't the case. And that's the case with me as well. So I just want to get that clarified. Like I say, I've never come across as, saying I'm an expert or whatever, just my personal opinion, which I think, as, it is not a bad opinion, when it comes to this. I think I've got a reasonable ear. I wouldn't say I've got the best in the world, but I think I've got a reasonable ear listening to the sounds, like I say, as long as it's pleasant, etc. Then I've conveyed that back across. Okay, that's it. I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.